Hey guys, welcome back to the show. And on this episode, I'm going to be talking about a classic from the legend himself, Mr. Ed Wood. It's Plan 9 from Outer Space. For those of you who don't know, Ed Wood wrote and directed several low-budget films throughout the course of his career. He's pretty much the original king of bad movies, which basically makes him my hero. And if you're interested, in 1994, Tim Burton made a movie about Ed Wood, starring Johnny Depp. It's called Ed Wood. It's a great movie. I would totally recommend watching it. So Ed made a slew of these terrible movies back in the 50s, including this one. And I always love checking out old movies like this. It's always interesting to see how everything looked. It really was a different time. The world was a different place. Doctors were smoking, people were seemingly drinking all the time, and most people didn't even own a color TV. So let's switch this one up a bit. I think that's a good idea. Because in the 1950s and 60s, everything was so happy-go-lucky, unlike these days. I mean, back then, everybody was walking around smiling, which meant that everyone was in a good mood, and nobody was keeping their feelings buried at all. The opening narration to this movie makes absolutely no sense. It's titled Criswell Predicts, and he goes on to say that these future events we're about to see will affect us in the future. But then 5 seconds later, he goes on to say this.
And now, for the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened on that fateful day. We are giving you all the evidence based only on the secret testimony of the miserable souls who survived this terrifying ordeal.
So, excuse me, but what? You were just talking about how these events will happen in the future, but then you go on to talk about them in the past tense, as if they already happened. Thought you were predicting that this will happen. Already off the rails here. So the movie starts with Bela Lugosi playing an old man whose wife just died. Now, Bela Lugosi was an actor who probably best known for playing Dracula in the 30s. And Ed Wood was a really big fan of his, so he tried to put him in his movies whenever he could. The only problem was that at that point, Bela Lugosi was heavily addicted to morphine and pretty much on the way out. Anyways, now we have Jeff, who's piloting this plane, when suddenly there's a giant flash of light and a gust of wind or something. Good thing they have these rickety metal flaps to hang on to. Suddenly, they look out the window and see a UFO hanging by a string. Then the UFO goes and, I guess, lands somewhere in a cemetery where these two grave diggers are digging a grave. Then suddenly Vampira appears and, okay, wait, what time of day is it? Is it daytime or nighttime? What the hell's going on here? And I guess this is supposed to be the old man's dead wife. So the old man was married to Vampira. Interesting casting choice, but okay. Suddenly it fades to black and we hear screaming, which I can only assume means that she killed them. Okay, so it's the next day now, I'm assuming. And the old man comes out of his house and then he walks off frame and again, so I'm guessing the old man got hit by a car here, which is kind of strange. I mean, how close does he live to the road? He barely walks out of frame and then we hear him screaming. Like, you can still see his shadow. So they bury him in a crypt. And just check out this dialogue.
First his wife, then he.
Tragic.
Tell me something. Why was his wife buried in the ground and he sealed in a crypt?
Something to do with family tradition, a superstition of some sort.
Oh.
Then, as they're leaving, the woman spots two fake dead bodies that look similar to the gravediggers. And now the police are on the case. They're gonna go, wait, what the hell? Again, this was clearly taking place at night, and now it's suddenly daytime? You're killing me here, Ed. Well, you know what, who knows? Let's give Ed the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were driving for a really long time. Maybe the cemetery is 10 hours away from the police station. So they arrive at the cemetery. Okay, this is a giant black wall. in the middle of the cemetery for some reason. I think this is supposed to make it appear to be at night, but it's clearly a wall. You can see shadows on it. It's almost as if this isn't taking place in a cemetery, but in some kind of a cheap Hollywood set. So this is when Jeff decides to tell his wife Paula about what happened on the flight earlier. Now you're probably thinking, wait, he's just telling her this now? Why wouldn't he tell his wife as soon as he walked through the door? Well, see, again, the 50s were a different time. Men had to be stoic. If you were piloting an aircraft and saw a UFO out the window, you didn't freak out, you didn't panic, you didn't say anything. You straightened your tie, you lit up a new cigarette, you took a sip of whichever kind of alcohol you were enjoying on that flight, and when you got home and your wife asked you how your day was, you'd simply say, good. Day was good. And see, that way, everything's fine, and everybody gets to be happy.
I saw a flying saucer.
Saucer? You mean the kind from up there?
No, from down here. Someone was on the ground throwing dinner plates at the plane. So while Jeff is complaining about having to keep the whole thing a secret, there's another bright light and a giant gust of wind, strong enough to move furniture and knock people over, which just goes to show that they don't make things like they used to back in the 50s, because that tea set is not only still standing, it barely budged an inch. Now that is a quality tea set, because back in the 50s, things were built to last. They were built to survive pretty much anything, even winds that could knock people off of their feet. And there goes the UFO. Don't know how they were able to see it so clearly. I thought it was nighttime, Ed. And this is just brilliant. There's so much going on here. It's like the actors didn't know which way to fall, because they're all falling in different directions. And these two literally throw the dead body off of the gurney. So the UFO lands in the cemetery, and oh my God, the old man is now a vampire. I have no idea what's going on here. I can only imagine they made him do this in order to hide his face, because this is not Bela Lugosi. The footage that you see in this movie of Bela Lugosi wasn't even originally for this movie. Bela Lugosi died in 1956, so Ed decided, well, I can just splice this footage in here and then use a stand-in and just cover his face, and boom, movie magic. Bela Lugosi, who died in 56, appears in a movie from 1959. So the old man and his wife start approaching Inspector Clay, so the inspector does the only logical thing. Just start blasting. I mean, you don't know who these people are. You don't know that they're zombies, but just, oh crap, this guy's covering his face. Bang, bang. Oh no, a woman with a really small waist. I feel threatened. Bang, bang.
Inspector Clay's dead. Murdered. And somebody's responsible.
You're in charge now, Lieutenant.
Yeah, guess I am. Calvin?
Yes, sir?
Get back up the car and gather radio. Tell the coroner he's got to make another trip out here.
I'm going to take this time to point out that I don't think gun safety was a very big thing back then. I mean, it looks like this guy is going for the world record of how many times you can casually point a gun at yourself and the people around you with your finger on the trigger. So now the UFOs are everywhere, and the military is involved. They're gonna shoot these things down with rockets, because that seems like a good idea. So the colonel gives the order to fire, which, again, this is weird. Where is he? These guys are firing rockets out on the field, but the colonel is just in front of some kind of a wall. It's almost as if they spliced this footage together with stock footage. That's right. Ed Wood was utilizing stock footage back before it was cool. Before Neil Breen. This is back when Neil was still in diapers, which would have been one more layer of clothing that he's wearing in some of his movies. Seriously though, Ed could have just shot this outside. You know, put the guy on a roof, shoot it from a low angle, that way you get at least a sky in the background. Anyways, the UFOs fly back to their base, I guess. And, oh, okay, I guess this is inside the base, which is completely covered in curtains. Wow, what a marvel of technology. Look at all this alien equipment. I find it interesting that for such an advanced form of intelligent life, they're still sticking with those pens and paper. So these are the aliens, and I think it's amazing that they look just like regular people. I always thought that would be really funny if that really happened. If aliens landed on Earth, you know, and everybody is waiting to catch a glimpse at them, and they come out of the spaceship and they just look exactly like us. I think it would be exciting, relieving, and disappointing all at the same time. But there are things here that set them apart from the humans, like their shiny clothes, fancy belts, and I can only imagine this is just the logo of the brand that makes the clothing. This is like the alien version of Nike, I assume. So the aliens are like, hey, we contacted the government, but they're just denying our existence. So we're gonna move on to Plan 9. And what is Plan 9, you're probably asking? Well, it's a plan. I wouldn't call it necessarily a good plan, but it is a plan nevertheless. Plan 9 is to raise the dead with their electrode guns, and that way the humans will finally take them seriously. Being aliens from another planet wasn't enough. So Jeff leaves to pilot another flight, and his wife says, "Don't worry about me, I'll lock the door." Then we see the old man again, dressed as Dracula. Okay, can you tell now that this was shot for a different movie? And once again, this is footage that was taken during a day shoot. Scene takes place at night. So I guess Paula didn't lock the side door because the old man is able to just walk right in, and I'm really not sure what he's supposed to be going for here. Does he want to kill her? Does he want to kidnap her? What are you waiting for? So Paula goes running out into the cemetery because that's probably a good idea. The zombie version of Inspector Clay comes out of his grave and, alright, we're just gonna have to accept the fact that scenes in this movie somehow take place during the day and night simultaneously. There's no escaping it. I can't do this anymore. I mean, this isn't even close. You're literally intercutting shots of a bright sunny day with shots of people shrouded in darkness, and it just keeps going on. So I guess Paula just passed out because reasons. I guess the aliens are watching from their ship, which is parked in the cemetery, and dude, you even put a bright sunny sky with clouds in the background through the window. Either Ed Wood was completely inept at making movies, or this was all on purpose. You know, maybe this is what he intended. He's the original troll. You know, he knew, I'm gonna make this crap and people are gonna talk about it for 60 years plus. So I guess the police are back in the cemetery looking around. Of course, Detective Wavy Revolver is there doing what he does best, testing fate with an accidental murder or suicide. This dude just can't help himself. He comes out there like, all right, you guys, make sure you keep an eye out, because people are mysteriously dying in this cemetery, which means any one of us could be next. It could be you, or even me. Hey, how much you guys want to bet I can fit this whole barrel in my mouth? Hey guys, check this out. I got it spinning. Yeah, I learned this yesterday. Oh wait, hang on. I think it works better if you cock back the hammer first. So this general plays a message for the colonel that the aliens sent, and the message basically says humans are stupid and you're gonna develop a weapon that will destroy the universe. So we'll have to destroy you before you destroy us.
Major Carlson will replace you while you're out there. You're the best man for the job of attempting to contact them. Find them, Colonel. See what in hell it is they want.
This is what I find hilarious. The message is basically saying, hey, we want you to acknowledge that we exist and that you understand what we're trying to tell you. And this general is like, I have no idea what they want. Go and make contact with them and find out what you can. Back on the mothership, the head alien comes into his office. I'm guessing he just got back from his part-time job at Medieval Times. And he's like, hey, here's an idea. Let's kill the old man. That'll get those humans to take us seriously. And then make more zombies. Yeah. Suddenly everybody feels that something is wrong. There's a weird sound and a horrible smell in the air. And oh my God, watch out. It's a man in a cape covering his face. It's amazing how everybody just stands there like, wow, the bullets did nothing. I guess there's nothing we can do except stand here and await our fate. that's a relief. Turns out he was just a skeleton. I was scared he was a vampire. So they all drive out to the cemetery to figure out just what in the hell is exactly going on.
Is the girl safe?
Mrs. Trent, you better stay with the car.
Stay here alone? Not on your life.
Modern women.
Yeah, they've been that way all down through the ages.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't she just want to stay in the car alone at night in a cemetery where people have been mysteriously killed recently? So the aliens send out the big zombie, and check out this knockout. Oh no, the dreaded shoulder slap. Well, that guy's as good as dead. Anyways, they come aboard the ship and start having a conversation with the aliens. Eros the alien starts explaining to them that eventually humans will discover a method to explode sunlight particles which will destroy everything. It's just kind of funny that, the aliens are so smart and advanced, but they're too dumb to realize that hurling insults at someone probably isn't the best way to get them on your side.
You see? Your stupid minds. Stupid! Stupid! That's all I'm taking from you. Get back here, you fool!
So anyways, they're gonna fight for a while. The colonel goes and starts twisting dials because that's what you want to do on an alien spacecraft. So they get out of there as the ship starts going up in flames, and they take off with the whole ship on fire.
We gotta hand it to them, though. They're far ahead of us.
Yes, so far ahead. I guess the aliens were too busy inventing technology to create zombies that they never had the time to invent a fire extinguisher. At the end of the movie, it also goes back to Criswell, who asks us if we can prove that these events didn't happen. Well, no, I can't. I thought you were predicting that this stuff was going to happen in the future. Now, this movie was originally called Grave Robbers from Outer Space, but they changed the name because apparently two of the backers of the film were ministers, and they felt that grave robbing was sacrilegious. So they didn't want that in the title. You may also be wondering, if this was Plan 9, what were Plans 1 through 8? Well, I don't know. None of us know. I guess we'll never know. Just another mystery of cinema. This movie is just such a hilarious debacle. And honestly, this is why I love this type of stuff. There's a charm to it that is just unlike anything else. So I hope you guys had as much fun watching this video as I did watching this video. And as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.